Title: Dying from a Poison Only Her Kind Knows. She froze when the human cut his own palm, offering a cure. The first light of dawn painted the forest in pale gold, glinting off frost-laced leaves. Kael stumbled along the narrow path, his boots crunching the frozen undergrowth. He had been tracking the legendary Luminaris for days, an elusive creature whispered about in village tales, half human, half something else entirely. Her kind was said to possess knowledge of poisons and cures lost to ordinary humans. But Kael didn't seek her for lore. He sought her because his life hung by a thread. Each step was agony. The poison, invisible and slow, coursed through his veins like molten ice. Only one of her kind could help him now. And he had never faced her before. Kael rounded a bend and saw her. She was sitting by a crystalline stream, her silver hair spilling over her shoulders like moonlight on water. Her skin, pale but luminous, contrasted with the forest's muted browns and greens. She lifted her head and her eyes, opalescent, shifting with the forest's hues, locked onto him. "Kael," she said, her voice carrying an uncanny resonance, as if the forest itself had learned to speak through her. He froze. She knew his name. He gasped, staggering closer. "I need your help. I've been poisoned." Her eyes narrowed, but her hand did not move toward any weapon. "Not just any poison," she murmured, her gaze sharp. "Something only my kind could identify, or cure." Kael's lips trembled. "Then you know. You know how to save me." She stood abruptly, and the forest seemed to shift with her motion. But instead of offering comfort, she took a cautious step back. "The cure, it requires a price." Kael's chest tightened. "Anything. I'll do anything." Her gaze softened for a fraction of a heartbeat. "I cannot give the cure willingly. It requires a bond, a life's essence willingly offered. Your blood mingled with mine. But it must be given without fear, without hesitation." Kael's heart pounded. The pain in his veins intensified, clouding his thoughts. I'll do it," he said, desperation thick in his voice. She shook her head. "You do not understand. If you hesitate, even for a second, the poison will overwhelm you. And I cannot reverse what you fear to give." Kael's hand shook. He had survived countless hunts, braved storms and beasts, but here, facing her, he felt the fragility of his own life more acutely than ever. He looked at her, this ethereal, terrifying being, and realized the enormity of what she demanded. I don't fear death," he said finally, clenching his jaw. "I fear wasting this chance." Her breath caught, and for a moment she seemed vulnerable, almost human. "Then you must cut your palm. And offer it without hesitation." Kael hesitated only a heartbeat before producing a small blade from his belt. He pressed it to his palm, the sting immediate and sharp. Blood welled, warm and bright against the pale skin. He held his hand toward her. Her eyes widened. She froze, almost recoiling, not from fear but from astonishment. "Humans rarely offer willingly," she whispered, her voice tinged with awe. Kael's vision blurred, pain and determination warring for dominance. "Do it," he urged, his voice hoarse. "Take it. Save me." She reached forward, her fingers hovering over the wound, hesitant as if the act of touching human blood were alien to her. But then she pressed her palm against his, and a pulse of warmth exploded between them. It was immediate, almost violent, and Kael gasped as the poison screamed through his body, then met her essence. The forest around them seemed to sigh, leaves trembling, water rippling in a harmonic pulse. Kael felt the fire of the poison melt into a gentle warmth, the agony receding like a tide. His knees buckled and she caught him, steadying his trembling frame. You did it, she whispered, her voice trembling. Your will, your trust, it is rare among humans. Kael leaned against her, exhausted. I didn't want to die without meeting you, without knowing. If you'd save me. She pulled back slightly, studying him, her fingers still tinged with his blood. Most humans would scream, struggle, refuse. You offered willingly. That is what allowed the bond to form. Pain still lingered, but it was receding. His vision cleared, colors sharpening, and he realized he could breathe without the poison clawing at his lungs. I owe you my life, he said, voice barely a whisper. She smiled faintly, the first real expression of warmth he had seen on her face. No, it is not owed. It is shared. You offered willingly and I accepted. That is how life is preserved between our kinds. Kael's heart skipped. Then what now? Now, she said, releasing his palm. You leave with life but also with understanding. The forest, its poisons, its cures. They are not just tools, Kael. They are lessons. You survived because you trusted beyond fear. Kael nodded, swallowing hard. I'll never forget this, or you. She dipped her hand into the stream, washing away the mingled blood. The water shimmered, reflecting the first rays of true sunlight. Remember this, she said. Trust, courage, willingness. They are rarer than any poison, stronger than any cure. Kael straightened, feeling strength returning to his limbs. He took one last look at her, at the silver hair glinting in the sun, at the eyes that seemed to see the soul, and he knew he would carry this memory like a shield forever. As he walked away, the forest seemed alive with whispers and light, a reminder that some forces in the world were older, wiser, and more powerful than he had ever imagined. And somewhere behind him, the Luminaris watched silently, the echo of his life forever entwined with hers. Kael survived that day, but more importantly, he emerged changed, a human who had dared the impossible, who had trusted a being unlike any other, and who had learned that courage and willingness could conquer even death. The forest returned to quiet, the frost melting, the water flowing clear. Life continued, but some moments, some bonds would never fade. Kael's knees buckled and the world spun, but she caught him, steadying his trembling frame. The poison that had clawed at his veins began to melt away under the warmth of their mingled life force. His breath returned, deep and steady, and the pain that had racked him moments before became a distant echo. You did it, she whispered, her voice trembling. Your trust, your willingness. It's rare among humans. Kael leaned against her, exhausted. I didn't want to die without knowing if you'd save me. Her fingers, tinged with his blood, hovered for a moment before she withdrew, her gaze softening. Most humans would have hesitated, screamed, or refused. But you offered willingly. That is what allowed the bond to form. Life was preserved because you chose courage over fear. Kael swallowed hard. Then what now? Now, she said, stepping back. You leave with life, but also with understanding. The forest, its poisons, its cures. They are not just tools, they are lessons. Trust, courage, and willingness are stronger than any poison. He nodded, feeling strength return to his limbs. I'll never forget this, or you. She smiled faintly, the first warmth he had seen in her expression. Remember, Kael. Some forces in the world are older and wiser than humans. But even among them, courage and trust can create miracles.